What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Project Ozone Lite. Oh yeah, guys. So today I wanted to show you guys something pretty cool that I just discovered on my own here. So a little while ago we were trying to get the quest done in the agricultural revolution for carrots. Apparently these are the carrot pluses, and there's multiple different types of these carrots, and I wasn't realizing it since the carrot looks like the ore itself. But yeah, it turns out if you take these carrot seeds and you plant them on the ore blocks like so, and then you bone meal them, and then when you break them, you get, guess what? The carrot plus. So we can go ahead and grow all of these crops like this and get the carrot plus. I can't believe nobody told me about this in the comments in that video. Guys, that's so crazy. Like, I would have figured somebody would have known about this, but as it turns out, that's how you do it. So all of you guys know how that's done. So yeah, it's a pretty easy thing. So you're welcome. Okay, so this episode today, what I would like to do is first of all open up the 2 loot chests that we failed to open up last time. So let's open these up right now. We get mana lenses, which we don't need anymore. It's the wrong one. And we get a diamond furnace. Okay, but seriously, what I want to work on today is I wanted to start doing some, not draconic, this one, the generation revolution. I want to start working on this big reactor. We are going to need a lot of power to do draconic evolution, right? So when we get to like the fusion crafting and stuff, this all requires millions of RF or more. Yeah, we need to have a lot of power. So what I just got done doing is I told our system to make a bunch of the casings for extreme reactors. Extreme. I told it to make 400 of these things, I think. Yeah, it's done. I wasn't sure if I told 400 or more, but yeah, we got 400 of these casings. So I want to set up a pretty big reactor. So I was trying to figure out where I want to put this thing. I think what we're going to do is we're going to tear out this, right? Yeah, I think all of that's going to go, or we might leave it. I haven't fully decided, but I think down here in this area, which I built and we haven't really done anything with, yeah, I think we're going to put our reactor down here. I think that's going to be the best thing to do. So we can make it like a certain size and then make it tall. If we need it taller, if we need more power, like we can kind of tear out the floor a little bit up here and then extend it up a few more blocks. I think that just makes a lot of sense. So first things first, I'm going to go ahead and start figuring out the dimension of this thing. I kind of like putting 3 blocks of space between whatever I'm building and the walkways, or I guess 4 the walkways. So I think we might go from here. Let's try this out. I think we might bring the blocks all the way over here up against the wall. So we might do something like this. I don't know. This might get a little crazy. Hopefully this will be fine. And then I'll have to replace that torch, but I do now before we get a creeper spawning or something. Maybe something that size. It's not quite a square. They don't have to be squares. They have to be a rectangular shape of some description though. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Do I want to do that? We might even just bring it out all the way here. So like this will end up being the wall. So like when you come down here, it'll stop flying. So when you come down the stairs, it'll just be like right here. Well, I'll play around with the design for a little bit, but basically what we got to do is make a solid floor out of these blocks, build the walls out of, or at least the corners out of these, and then we can do like the panels out of the reactor glass if we so choose to. I find that usually adds a little bit of FPS lag. Sometimes, maybe not. But anyway, I'm going to just use these solid blocks all the way up. It's not going to be something pretty. All it's going to do is just generate power and cyanite for us. That's the only thing we care about. So yeah, I'll start building the frame for this thing and then we'll be right back. All right, guys. So I decided to make it a little bit bigger. Instead of just like making it between the stairs, I extended it all the way over to where the stairs start, right? So it's a little bit bigger now. I think that's going to house a decent amount of fuel rods to make a decent amount of power. So what we need to do in here is we need to take some reactor fuel rods, and these are going to hold the fuel. This is what actually generates the power in these things. These blocks are not spawnable, so we don't really have to worry about lighting this up and mob spawning or whatever. So I know Extreme Reactors has changed a little bit. It's slightly different than when I have previously used this as big reactors. In fact, let me do this. I'm going to put this little lip around here so it's easier for us to understand that this is an outside wall. But the way Extreme Reactors worked and the way the way big reactors work and the way Extreme Reactor still works is you place a fuel rod in here, and then depending on the coolant and how far away the rod is from the outside wall depends on the efficiency of the reactor. No, I'm not going for the most efficient design. That is not what we're going for here. What we're going for is a design that's just going to output power. That's all I care about, is that we output more power than what we're currently generating and that we make cyanide. So I'm going to place these rods 3 blocks away from the wall, right? So it's 3 blocks from that side, 3 blocks from over here, and 4 blocks from this side because we can't really space one there. Otherwise, it'll be 2 blocks, right? So what we're going to do is that we'll alternate them. We're going to put these in a checkerboard pattern. Again, we're not going for the most efficient. We are just making ourselves an extreme reactor. Okay, so we'll go ahead and place these like this. I'm noticing that we're getting low FPS around this area, and I'm not entirely sure why. It started happening after, well, I guess like as I was breaking these slabs, like things started acting a little funny down there. I don't know. 37 FPS seems awfully low when we normally get like over 100. Like if I come over here, is it still, maybe it has to do with the rain? I don't know. Something's acting up. Our entity count doesn't look like it's out of control, so I'm not entirely sure what's going on yet. Maybe it's because it's reactor. I don't know. Anyway, so we'll go ahead and place these guys like I'm doing in the checkerboard pattern, like so. One there, there, and there. Okay, so 3 blocks away, 3 blocks away, and the closest on this one is 3 blocks away. I think we're pretty good. So that should be a total of 30 rods. We can take these 7 blocks tall, so I made 210 of these things. So we should have the correct amount because I kind of counted this beforehand just to make sure so we can pre-craft these. Now you'll notice that these don't go all the way up to the top. That's because on top of these things we place control rods, which I don't have on me. These guys right here, these cap off the top of the fuel rods. The control rods you can right click on when the reactor is formed, and you can see how far to insert the control rod. The further the control rod is inserted, the less power each of these make, right? The control rod stops the reactivity between the fuel rods and makes it make a lot less power. So that's the idea with these things. So yeah, that is pretty much that. So now what we have to do is fill in the reactor. Like, the only thing that matters about these fuel rods is if you're on the cardinal direction. So like if we had coolant this way or coolant this way, that matters. That'll affect the output, the cooling, all of that stuff. The blocks in here in this 3x3 on all 4 corners doesn't matter. So if we wanted to be really cheap about the fuel, or I'm sorry, the coolant that we're putting in here, all we'd have to do is put like a source block, so it only flows 1 block this way and 1 block that way. So like 2 source blocks in the center here, and then that would be it. And then obviously spread it out towards the wall. But we'll fill it all the way in. We should have all the resources to make that doable. So yeah, the next step is we need to get coolant. I believe the best coolant you can use in this, I believe, is gelid cryothium. The problem with gelid cryothium is that it's a gravity affected block. So you place gelid cryothium here, it'll eventually sink all the way down and be down here. So in order to fill this up full of gelid cryothium, we'd have to literally fill every airspace with it. I don't want to do that. I think what we're going to end up doing is just using resonant ender, melt ender pearls down into resonant ender. Then you can place like a dirt layer or whatever, some kind of block around here, fill the whole top up full of resonant ender, and then remove all the dirt. It flows down. It doesn't sink itself, but it does flow down, which works just the same as filling every airspace in with that coolant. Okay, so I think that's what we're going to end up doing. Let's check our ender pearl count here. we have 66,000 ender pearls. I think it's 4 ender pearls makes 1 bucket. We need somewhere in the neighborhood of 200 buckets. I don't know exactly how much, I didn't count. So I'll just start filling up a drum with essence, fire, water. We should probably make a drum. Let's go ahead and make one now. I'm actually kind of surprised we don't have extras. I thought I made some before. Yeah, we'll go ahead and fill up a drum real quick full of pearl juice. That and that. So we'll make the iron drum. And then we'll make one of these. I guess we're going to have to make these pressure plates. Okay. And then we'll want pearls. Awesome. All right. So down here, one more level. We have our magma crucible, and then we have our fluid transposer. So you can put a drum into... Okay, maybe you can't. Maybe I just lied. So previously, you've been able to put a drum in 1.7.10 in here, and it would transfer over and then start filling it up through the internal tank. I think the extra utilities 2, you can't do that. Yeah, I completely forgot about that. So we have a couple options. Let's see, does this have color codes on it? Like if I do extract? Yeah, so we can change it to red or green or brown or blue. Let's do green. Well, actually, I don't know what the default color is. Let's go black, all right? So we will do on the back of this fluid transposer. Actually, I guess we wouldn't need to do on the back of the fluid transposer at all now that I'm thinking about it. Let's just set that to insert. We'll change this to extract on brown. That's the first color that I chose. We'll place that here and we'll do insert. Dang it, now that's full of water. I'm gonna have to get rid of that. Maybe this doesn't work that way. I was thinking that we could extract fluids on different colors, but there is no color filter on here. Okay, well, I'll figure it out. I'll get the pearl juice put through here. The magma pearls, or the, I'm sorry, the ender pearls in the magma crucible turn into the liquid ender pearl. I'll get that in here. We'll fill up this drum full of the stuff, and then we'll figure out how to place it over there in the reactor. All right, guys. So the simplest thing to do for melting down those pearls, set the filter here so it's always adding the ender pearls to this slot. You want to set this to pull from the top, or I guess input from the top, and then set auto input enabled. Yeah, anyway, so that pulled the pearls from the interface into the crucible. It started melting them down. And then what I ended up doing was setting the right-hand side here to export, and the back side here, I just turned that off. So I had the drum sitting right here, and we were just pulling the pearls, melting them, and exporting them, right? Very, very simple to do. Okay, so anyway, we got that all sorted out, and all of that's done. And then I was like, you know what? I remember just recently on my live streams, people had told me about the mechanism buckets, or I'm sorry, the mechanism fluid tanks. These things hold not a whole lot of fluid, but a decent amount. So we have 92 buckets worth of resonant ender in here. But the nice thing about these things that I didn't know before, which I'm not sure if everybody knows about, probably not if I didn't know about it. If you do the mechanism mode switch key while holding this thing, you can switch this thing to bucket mode. So what's so good about bucket mode? Well, bucket mode, you can just right click, I guess shift right click, to place fluids directly from this unit onto wherever you want it. So yes, this is like an infinite, well, not infinite, a multi-use bucket now with all of the resonant ender that we have. Yeah, it makes filling all of this in super, super easy. Now again, going back to what I was talking about, if you want to be frugal and not fill in the corners, you can absolutely do that. And in fact, what I'm doing here is way more than what I need to do. All you need to do is place one source block, let it spread out, right? And then that, when you remove the dirt below it, it'll flow down just the same, and you can save on resources that way. But honestly, I don't care about saving resources. Like, we have a lot of resources, guys. So it doesn't really matter to me if, you know, we use way more of this stuff than what we need to. So yeah, I'll go ahead and place down the rest of this stuff here. It's gonna, I'm probably gonna have to melt down more ender pearls, I think. I don't think I'm gonna have enough. I still don't know what's causing all the lag in this area. It's something to do with either this big reactor or this stuff over here. I'm not entirely sure. Extreme reactor, excuse me. I'm not entirely sure what's causing the problem. But yeah, I would like it solved. So hopefully when we get this thing all put together, that lag issue will go away and we'll get more than like 24 FPS. Anyway, let me continue on doing this and we'll be back, guys. All right, guys, so we are just about ready. In between these control rods and the fuel rods down there, I did place one source block of the resonant ender, let it flow all the way down, then I capped them off and just kind of made everything solid in the center just so it's easier for us to close it up. So the last thing we need to do before we can close it up, though, is get rid of all of this dirt and allow that resonant ender to flow down. So I'll just go ahead and vein mine all of that dirt up. It will cause a whole bunch of lag as that flows all the way down to the bottom. Eventually that'll calm down, settle down, stop moving and flowing, and our FPS should come back to normal. I think we are good. Okay, so the next thing is we need to actually close this all the way up. So let's make sure we get all these blocks placed here. Okay, and when we're done, this thing will form a multi-block and we'll know that we are completed. Although it doesn't look like that formed a multi-block. Let me break one of those. And I'll place it back manually. No? Okay, so a thing we can do is we can right-click anywhere on these blocks and it'll tell us where the problem is. So machine is too large. It may be at most 16 blocks in the X dimension. Are you serious? Wow. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It is 7 blocks too long. Wow. I was not expecting that. Okay, so if it can only be 16, we're probably only going to make it 15 wide so it fits on an odd number. Yeah, okay, well, I guess I'm going to go ahead and, well, let's see. Do we want to tear this apart? Or I'm almost thinking, do we take this and make it into 2 separate reactors? No. I think I'm going to go ahead and tear it apart. That is disappointing. I didn't realize that there was a 16 block limit on this. All right, guys. Well, I made it 15 blocks wide instead of whatever we had before that was too large. Yeah. Anyway, so this is what we went with for the pattern for the control rods in the center. I decided that I wasn't going to put the holes between them just because we lost so many fuel rods. And then I was like, you know, since we lost so many, we might as well just fill it all in and try and get as much power out of this thing as possible. So it's probably going to be even less efficient than what I want it to be. But, yeah, we only lost out on 2 of our fuel rods. So it should be around the same amount of power or whatever. Maybe a little less efficient, but we can make Yellorium all day long. It's really not an issue. So let's go ahead and right-click on this again. Oh, yep. I guess it'd probably help if I removed the dirt from in here. Let's vein mine that on out of there. There we go. That is out of there. So we gotta wait for all of the resonant ender to flow down and then hopefully stop lagging. We're good. I think we're good. We'll place back the last block. And there we go. Now we have a multi-block structure. Oh my goodness, guys. Ah, that feels good. It was kind of annoying that it wasn't working. I was like, oh no. Well, yeah, I kind of wanted this thing to fill up the entire wall here and not like leave this little space like this. But what can you do? Oh well. So let's take a look at what we got here. So I put the controller right here. This is how you turn the reactor on and off. But we need fuel in here. And then we need a thing to do, or we need something for the power to go into. So we'll have to figure that out. Up here we have 2 access ports. We have one that's set for input. And this one's set for input. But we can click this button and set that for output. So Yellorium goes in, cyanite comes out. And then down here is where our redstone flux power tap is. Now, since we had to make our reactor in such a way, we could probably move the flux tap here and run a cable up to this battery and leave everything the way it is. A thing I like doing with these big reactors in Ender IO if you take the Ender IO capacitor bank and you put that right on the power tap, or just have like an infinite connection between them, you can use the, what is this thing called? The power monitor. The power monitor tells you how much power is in like this conduit here, and you can emit a redstone signal based on, you know, if it drops below 75%, emit a redstone signal up until it gets to 99%, then turn off that redstone signal. And with that redstone signal, you can turn your reactor on and off with it. Now, since we're going to want a lot of cyanide, we're probably going to want a reactor on regardless of how much power we have. So I don't know. I don't know how we're going to do this. We want the power from here into our battery and our battery to the rest of the base. And we probably want this thing going all the time. Yeah, I don't know. We might put a power tap here and just run a cable into this battery over there or something. I'll have to figure that out. I don't know. We might even be able to put the power tap right here and use like a cryostabilized flux duct from thermal expansion or thermodynamics and just slap that right into this guy, right into the side there. Okay, I guess first things first, we should probably get some yellorium in this, some fuel. And let's just see how much power this thing makes. So there's a stack of blocks. Wrong one up here. Oh, that takes more than a stack of blocks. Yellorium, let's grab a few more stacks of blocks then. Okay, so it takes that much, then probably some ingots. I'll go and break apart some ingots here so we can make sure it's topped all the way up. Cool. All right, so now if we look in here, we can see that the fuel is 100% full, 0% depleted. All we have to do is click this button here. It'll heat up, we'll make power, and then we'll know how much power we're actually making. So it looks like we are nearing 1 million, a little over 1 million RF per tick. The heat's going way up, which means we are going to be burning a lot of fuel, which is fine because we want that cyanide. Yeah, 1.07 million RF. That's a little bit more than I was expecting out of this, to be honest. I was kind of thinking we're going to be getting 200,000-300,000 RF per tick, maybe. A million's pretty good. I have to say, that's pretty good. So yeah, like I said, we can take that and throw that into the battery, or we could just put this directly on the power output and just assume that we're always going to have yellorium. So you can see here that we've already used quite a few ingots already, 7 ingots worth. And it looks like we're using an ingot about every 15 seconds. We'll be chewing through that power in no time. But we're also gaining cyanide as well. So that's a pretty good thing, a pretty good trade-off here. Now again, the cyanide, the uses for that, 8 of those in a crafting grid turn directly into plutonium. And the uses for the plutonium turn into lutecrite. And I believe we need that lutecrite for a lot of our end game stuff here. That turns into the ingots, and the ingots are used for stuff. Aren't they used for stuff? Maybe. I thought we needed the plutonium for something. We need a plutonium block. Anyway, well, I'll look through that later just so we know for sure. I know we had a quest that wanted us to have a certain amount of plutonium. Let's go and take a look at that real quick. So that was Generation Revolution. This one. This wanted us to have 64 plutonium, which means we need 8 stacks of cyanide, which means we need to let this run for a little while to get that. So I'll probably take some time here and try and get some applied energistics over. I know we have some, oops, not there. I know we have some applied energistics here in this area, so we might be able to try and string dense cable over, maybe down, over and up and through the floor or something, so we can connect these 2 ports to applied energistics. Anyway, I'll start working on that a little bit and then we'll be right back. Okay guys, so I went ahead and I just ran the ME cable from our applied energistics area right over here. Yep. And we just have it exporting the yellorium, and we're importing whatever's coming out of the output, which is obviously cyanide. I was trying to like figure out what was going on with all the rendering issues. So I did like the shift F3, which brings up that little pie chart. And press the number keys to kind of like scroll through it a little bit to figure out what's going on, what's eating up all of the FPS. Anyway, I restarted the pack and it seems like my FPS is more normal now. So I don't know what was going on, something weird. But yeah, we're making all this power. I put the dimensional transceiver right on the flux power tap. So we should have all that power available It says that it can send and receive that amount of power. So I don't know. We'll see. We might have to do something a little bit different later on. Eventually, we'll probably end up getting the Draconic Evolution power storage, and we'll probably have a channel from one of these dimensional transceivers powering that up, and then the power ball will power everything else. Anyway, for now, we got that all settled, so that is pretty awesome. So while we're waiting on all of the cyanite that we're going to need, remember we need 8 stacks of cyanite. We have 249, which is almost 4 stacks of cyanite, so we're almost halfway there. While we're waiting on the rest of that, we should probably check out a different quest. So the only thing that we have left to do in the quest book, we're stuck here. Everything else is done, as we've seen. The only thing we have left to do is Draconic Re-Evolution at this point. So probably what we're going to want to do, let's start down the fusion crafting tree. Eventually we're going to get the Wyvern armor and then the Draconic armor. Wyvern armor. Are you guys in the camp where you say Wyvern or do you say Wyvern? Because I've heard it both ways. I'm almost 100% positive it's Wyvern. But let me know in the comments down below how you pronounce it. So yeah, we'll travel down this path because as we make those armors, we're going to want to upgrade, and we upgrade it through the fusion crafting. So it just makes sense to get this stuff done before we get into the Wyvern armor, which we don't exactly need at this point in time. So we need a fusion crafting core and a basic fusion crafting injector to complete this task. We're probably going to end up needing multiple of these. So if we do a fusion crafting, we can get the core. Okay, so the core requires nether stars, a draconic core, and then lapis blocks. How are we doing on draconium? We aren't doing that good. We are going to have to figure out how we're going to get draconium. Now, I know we can get it in the end, and that's definitely a thing that we're going to have to look at doing here pretty soon. But getting it done is that's the key. Okay, so we have the draconium ingots in the system. So there's our draconic core. And then we need lapis blocks, which I think we have. All right, so there is a fusion crafting core. Okay, so the next part was to make the basic fusion crafter. So that's another draconic core. And then diamonds, iron block, chiseled stone, or I guess regular stone, draconium blocks. We need 27 draconium just for this. Okay, so there goes a good portion of all the draconium that we have. I think this time we'll use the mechanism machine over here that can do multiple at the same time, just a little bit faster than a redstone furnace. I did convert some of our recipes over here, like steel dust into steel ingots, graphite bars, and glass. Things that we wait on a lot will go a lot faster in that particular machine. All right, so draconium. There's our last block, so we should be good to make this. Okay, so we made one. Quest complete. Okay, so let's claim middle loot chest today. I think that's going to be fine. So to make the Wyvern fusion crafting injector, we have to do a fusion crafting recipe, I believe. So if we look at the recipe here, yeah, we take the basic fusion crafting injector, put it into the core, and then we have to have these items around it in order to upgrade it to the next tier. So in order to do this, we're going to start needing a lot of draconium. Yeah. How do we get draconium? So draconium looks like we have seeds available. Otherwise, we can do the draconium ores, which we'd have to go hunting around for. I think the seeds just makes the most sense. So a tier 5 crafting seed plus the premium plus draconium. Tier 5. Let's make one of those. That should happen pretty quick. It just has to make the supremium. Yeah, that supremium is crafted very, very quickly for us. So let's go ahead and craft 4 of those. And again, that'll be pretty quick. I think the longest part is it's calculating how long it's going to take to make it. All right, so we have all of that done. And there we go. Here is our draconium seeds. Okay, so now that we have that, it's probably going to be an idea that we come over to our farm and get this going right away. We're definitely going to want this stuff being, we're definitely going to want this stuff being harvested all the time. We're going to need a lot of this stuff going forward. Thousands of ingots, maybe tens of thousands. I don't know. there might be crazy recipes that require us to have a ridiculous amount of this stuff later on. I don't think I mentioned this, but I did change out the soil based on a recommendation. So previously we were using fertile soil. I switched it out to the fertilized dirt. So this makes a lot of particles. Every time the imaginary time block comes through, I guess it acts like a bone meal effect. So plants grow a lot faster on that, but the imaginary time block already makes them grow pretty fast. Anyway, I just thought I'd point that out. So I do have our dirt seeds here. We have our water seeds. We have our wood seeds. This is a new one. We were running low on wood. So yeah, wood seeds. How are we doing on the wood essence? What kind of essence does that make? Let me right click one of these real quick. Yeah, wood essence. Why did I not see that? Wood. Oh, it was the very first one. So 219,000 wood essence. That is quite a lot. Okay. So I think what we're going to end up doing here, let's turn this off. Never active. All right. So we're going to unlock this. We're going to take the wood essence out. I'm going to break a bunch of these seeds, but I'm going to leave one. We'll break the rest of these wood essence here. Watch all those particles go away. And then we'll plant our draconium right here. It'll instantly grow. Okay. So we'll lock this back again because I don't want it spreading. And then, yeah, so we'll have the wood essence here and then we'll have that here. In fact, I think we're going to do that for all of these. So we'll have one dirt, we'll have one of the water. I think just having one of each of these crops going all the time is going to be more than enough. And then over here we have I think these are the tier 5 ones. We have tier 6, but these are the tier 5 ones. I don't know if we need that much going. Yeah, I don't know. We'll mess around with this. As we need more room, we will modify this. Okay, so we'll start this thing back up, and we should start getting extra draconium seeds in the system. And then I'll grab a few of those extras, and then we'll plant those here. So let's go ahead and just go always active. So yeah, that'll go ahead and harvest more. Oh, you know what? I need to say never active. Take the seeds out, lock it, and then break those, right? Okay, so no more seeds will go in these slots, so it won't try and auto plant anymore. It can't because those are locked. Then we go always active. There we go. So now we can specifically place down one seed here. It'll always stay there, but we'll get more seeds and the resources in the system, right? So that's kind of how I want this farm to go in the future. We'll just place down one seed for every single crop as we make it, unless we need a lot of that, and then we'll spam a few of them until we have enough, and then we'll reduce it back down to 1. Okay, yeah, look, we have 9 million of that inferium essence in the system. That's a little crazy. Okay, so let's look at draconium. We have not received a seed yet. I'm sure we'll get one eventually. And then when we do, like I said, I'll come through here and I'll plant it so we get extras of that stuff. So let's take a look. The draconium ingot itself does require 8 of that essence to make 1 ingot. So this is going to take a while for this to happen. Yeah. Okay. Well, we're not really able to do much with draconic evolution today. We're waiting on the rest of our extreme reactors, the cyanite from that to be generated. We're about halfway there, but it's going to take a while for the rest of that to process through. So I guess what we can do now, let's open up the reward chest that's in our inventory. We'll take a look at how much of the cyanide we have just to make sure we can't continue on with that. So let's pop this. So 3 basic capacitors. That's all right. And then back to the cyanide. We now have, did not mean to take that out. We now have 5 stacks. So we need 3 more before we can do what we want to do. We'll probably have to wait until next time. So I'll just throw these guys in the system for now. Guys, we're going to go and wrap the episode up here for today. We got extreme reactors going on, which is awesome, guys. So that's probably going to be the last power source that we're ever going to have to mess with. Probably. There might be a thing where we need a lot more of this stuff. And at that time, we might look at solars. We have the draconic solars and the awakened solars, which can make a stupid amount of power. That might be how we generate more power in the future. I don't know. But anyway, guys, that's going to do it for today. Thank you guys for watching. Remember, leave a like on the episode if you liked it, and we'll see you next time. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye bye.